Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed, joined by my lovely and talented wife, Miss Southern Shell. Shell, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Fantastic.
Fantastic. It's spring break.
Almost.
Starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow. What are your spring break plans, Malcolm?
I guess I'm breaking back out the snow clothes, the heavy winter wear. It doesn't feel very springy. It's supposed to, the high Saturday is supposed to be like 35. Chance of sno tonight.
Oh, really?
Happen. Yeah.
No wonder my mom said, "Is it snowing?" I was like, no, crazy lady.
It was sunny and 60 degrees yesterday. You know?
Yeah. But really, we have a chance of snow?
Yeah, heck yeah. And it is probably going to north of here. I guess it's another cold front pushing through, but it doesn't feel like spring break.
Yeah.
I always hated that as a kid growing up. And, you got all these plans on spring break, what you're going to do, and then the weather just sucks.
I do remember one year at spring break, it snowed like inches.
Oh, yeah. So I remember one, it was probably 9th or 10th grade. I'd been working at Sonic. That was my first job. That summer, I started working at Sonic, and I was like 16 years old. And, we worked, I don't know what you can work a kid. I think it's like up to 32 hours or something like it used to back then. They didn't care, child labor laws, whatever. They'd let you work.
Yeah.
But at Sonic, I'd worked all the fall and the winter, and it got to be spring break, and all my buddies were making plans, and I just had my driver's license. We had we weren't going out of town. My parents weren't going to let me go somewhere. It was like, I don't want to, they'd schedule me for like 60 hours that week. I was getting open to closures all week. I was like, man, I guess everybody's taking off spring. I said, I'm not going to work. I can't work that much. It's against the law for you to work a 16-year-old. Yeah, I was protesting. And they said, we're not changing the schedule. If you want a job, you're working it. So that's when I quit my first job. Spring break. And you know what? It sucked because the weather was crappy. It was raining. We didn't get to go fishing. We didn't get to go nothing. I was like, dang, I should have made that money this week. I quit my job. So I went to work at Pizza Hut the week later.
Looking back, do you regret that decision?
It wasn't that big a decision. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, it was, I think minimum wage back then wasn't even $4. It's like $3.85.
I think it's $3.75. Yeah.
I was really banking. But, gas wasn't high either, though. like it is now. Can you imagine making minimum wage right now and having to pay $5 a gallon for gas?
No.
It's like your whole paycheck.
Yeah. You'd just be going to work to buy gas. That would suck. Anyway, on to better and brighter things. Tyler, how are you today, man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for asking.
Good. He brought us a specialty coffee this morning. I'm wired up. What was that? Dunkin's
Shamrock Macchiato.
It's St. Patrick's Day next week.
Yeah,
so it was pretty good. It's a little sweet for my liking on coffee, but
a little cold for my liking.
They usually do like around this time of year the Girl Scout cookie flavors. So I think they kind of switched it up this year and did the Shamrock instead. So I went there to get my Thin Mint latte.
Yeah, they didn't have it.
They had the Shamrock Macchiato. I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot.
Was there much difference?
Nah. The Thin Mint's a lot more pepperminty.
It's more peppermint.
Yeah, and a little more mocha-y. But
next Saturday, speaking of spring break, we've got our big grand opening anniversary.
Yes, we do. It's the 1-year anniversary day. And you tell me the weather's going to be good. I've been watching it. It started out, I started watching it 2 weeks ago. It's like rain, 70%. It's going to be cold. But now the weather, it's changed. Who knows a week from now? At least it's not this Saturday.
Yes. It'll be nice. It'll be beautiful.
What are you the most excited about?
George Strait.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's coming, isn't he? Because that's considered false advertising. You keep putting this out there. I don't know who keeps bringing up George Strait's coming.
Yeah, we need a cardboard cutout of George Strait fast.
I need to put that on my list.
I think he did play. I didn't know that much about George Strait, but he did play the Houston Livestock Rodeo. I don't think he played like the barbecues last week, but I saw there was get tickets and they're super expensive.
What were they?
I think they started like $150 or something like that.
That's kind of the going rate these days.
Is that for a concert?
Yeah.
It shows you how long it's been up on a concert ticket.
So what you're telling me is we cannot afford George.
We cannot afford George Strait to come to Hernando. That's exactly what I'm telling you.
We can afford 2.5
cutout,
tickets.
play the box set. I don't know if that's legal either. Probably some kind of trademark infringement.
We do have Bull Boss coming. They're cooking crawfish.
That's what I'm the most excited about.
Yeah.
Crawfish.
We have world champion rib cook Jay Durbin from Tennessee Mojo coming to cook ribs.
Yep.
We've got
Who else?
Dustin Rudd.
Dustin Rudd's coming to cook ribs.
NBA guy.
Yeah.
NBN.
And we've got Tri-Tips.
We're doing
Steaks, doing a PK demo with a ribeye.
hot dogs for the kids. That's your favorite part. And a cake. Celebratory cake. She was wanting to put sparklers and candles on this cake. And I said, I don't think we could blow those out during COVID times. And
that was a good point. You saved me there.
because you're going to have it decked out. I know. What you could do like a rolling one of those cakes and have somebody pop out it. What if I pop out the cake and you could decorate and have sparklers and stuff on that? Hooray!
Fully clothed, though, right? Yeah.
I'm not. We're not doing Magic Malk. It ain't one of those things. I don't have my beach bot
That's
ready
not your
yet.
skill set. Yeah.
That's not my skill set.
No, but I do have George Strait cut out on my list now.
George Strait.
See if we can make that happen.
You just need to like put him in one of the windows on the building and have him waving.
Yeah.
See, there he is. You do that old Carney trick. Come see George Strait. You pay $1 to go by there, and it's like a tent. You walk in, he's in the window. We didn't say he was live. It's just a picture of George
You
Strait.
just said see him.
Yeah.
Did you ever pay the $1 at the fair to see behind the curtain?
Yeah, like the world's tiniest woman and the Snake
Snake
Man or
Woman,
something
yeah.
like that.
Did you?
Yeah, it was always horrible. It was like the Ripley's. Have you ever been to one of those Ripley's museums?
Yeah.
Where they have the oddities. They
Yeah.
always have
We
something
took
like
Michael
that.
there, yeah.
It's all fake. I don't know. The bearded lady, she may have really had that beard. I don't know.
My mom never would let me pay the $1.
There's some shady people that run that stuff.
I don't think I've ever seen a fair like that. Do they still do those?
I used to. I mean, well,
I haven't been to a fair
coming
in a
up, the
while.
Mid-South Fair was awesome. I loved it. They always had stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's been before my time.
Yeah.
They may not. I don't know. Now there's probably like a fair union, and you got to do all this. I mean, last time we went, all the concessions was controlled by one group, and you think you're getting all this. The fair food sucks now. I want to go to one of those. Like there's one, I think it's in
The Texas
Iowa
one's supposed to be great.
Yeah, there's one of. You ever watch? There's a show that's like does fair, most amazing fair food or something like that. I've caught myself watching it before. They have some. It's not around here, but some of that stuff looks awesome. It's not controlled by one group. It doesn't look like.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite food comes from the fair. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time I went
Chicken
to the
on a
Delta.
stick.
What do they call it now? The Delta Fair, or what? It's maybe the Mid-South Fair. But they have it at the Lander Center, and I was like, man, we're gonna go. We're gonna get pronto pups and corn dogs and all this, and it's all ran by these, the same people are running every single booth. And it
They
wasn't-
just
it wasn't-
travel together,
Yeah, it
yeah.
wasn't fair food.
It wasn't
was
local
like
or
carny
anything.
food.
Yeah. Did they have when
No,
you
they were foreigners too. It wasn't like Americans that
Yeah.
had those jobs. I was like, man, what's up with this? They must be doing some kind of work program. Probably cheap labor is what it is. It's probably the backing behind it.
when you were coming up, did they have pig racing at the fair?
yeah, I think they do. They still do.
Okay.
They did the last time I went. They had it. Elliot loved it. That's great.
Me too.
The coolest thing I saw is they had this donkey.
Let's
Wait a minute.
Stop right there.
And they had a monkey that would ride the donkey, and it would climb up this ladder. And I don't. How
What
do you
size
train?
monkey?
It's like one of those little macaws or whatever.
Okay.
You saw those little monkeys. He had on his little outfit. He had a little saddle. And he'd get on the back of this donkey. And this donkey would, no joke, climb up this ladder, and it was probably 2 or 3 stories high. And it had a platform, and they had one like above ground pool, and that donkey would jump off that platform into that pool with that monkey on his back. And it was like, it blew my mind. I was a kid. My papa
Wow.
took me to see it. And I was like, this is amazing, man. First off, they got that donkey to climb a ladder.
Yeah, and jump.
And I mean, it wasn't nothing for the monkey, he was just, I don't know I guess he just liked the experience. I don't know. but it went down. I saw it. And I rode a camel. So that's 2 interesting facts. So you can tell I love fairs. I was born to love fairs.
Yeah.
I love the expo buildings at fairs where you go and you'd see all the inventions of tomorrow and things like that.
Inventions of tomorrow.
It was mainly like hot tubs and saunas.
Yeah. They're trying to sell you on
Yeah,
it.
they were trying to sell you
massage
stuff.
chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically a big sharper image.
That's basically what it was. And then we'd also go in, like my mom used to enter the try to win the blue ribbon. So they had like you could canned fruits, bake a pie. They had
I
all
entered
this.
one time.
My mom's got several blue ribbons she won from doing different vegetables and things like that.
We entered through 4-H.
They
Different
entered.
things.
Waylon actually entered the art contest one time. He'd done like this stained glass thing. He was into stained glass. I guess I don't know how you get into that. He did.
Yeah, my wife used to do like fairs with 4-H as well, like
Yeah.
baked
Yeah.
pies, cakes, etc.
Yeah.
So.
I
So
built
we
a
always looked at
birdhouse one
that.
time.
Did you win a ribbon?
No, that was
No?
a pretty crappy birdhouse. I waited till the last minute.
Threw something together.
Yeah. Somebody else like had one that made it look like a cat's head, like the bird would
Yeah.
go in the cat's mouth.
I always liked the animal judging too, because you could walk through the
Yeah, we did that too.
stables and see all the livestock and see the little shows.
Anyway, brisket shepherd's pie.
Good little segue there, Shell. That was the recipe for the week. Everybody getting ready for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
I wanted to come up with something. Is it an Irish dish? It's Irish-ish.
So what is it? What,
So doing research, I've had shepherd's pie. Most of the time it's at a pub or something.
yeah.
It's really contributed to a British dish, shepherd's pie. Now in Ireland they do something very similar, except they call it cottage pie. And it's the main difference that I could tell is in Ireland, they use lamb, and it's basically the same thing. Some kind of they either grind it or chunk it, kind of roast it. It's in a gravy, maybe has some vegetables. A lot of times you'll see it and it'll have like peas and carrots and stuff
Yeah.
like that in it. Mashed potatoes on top, and
So
baked in the oven a little bit to brown them up, and that's it. And I guess, and Brit, I don't know where it started first, who had cottage pie, who had shepherd's pie, but they do it usually with like a minced meat, and it's our take on ground beef,
Oh,
chopped
okay.
up
So-
fine beef.
okay.
They use beef typically.
Yeah.
Same kind of deal. But I took all that and said, what would a barbecue guy do? We'd use brisket. And so I got me a flat from Kroger and
they had
cooked
some
it.
pretty good looking flat.
Man, that
at
was a
Kroger.
great looking flat. I knew going in I didn't need a flat that big, but that's just what the size they were. I think that was like 10 pounds. It was a huge
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah.
And it's not really about, I wasn't trying to cook it to slice like brisket or anything. So I didn't get crazy with trimming it or anything like that. I just wanted to get it cooked and cubed. I wanted to get some smoke on the outside. And at that point, that's really all I needed the smoker for, was to get my initial smoke and bark going. And I used the Traeger pellet grill, 250 degrees, had some pecan pellets in it. You could use whatever kind you liked. Season that brisket up with salt and pepper. I used my TX rub. It wasn't going for barbecue flavors. I was just going for savoriness,
Yeah.
And that makes a nice bark on it anyway.
To me, that is barbecue flavor.
Yeah.
It's more of a Texas barbecue.
That's right.
But
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's good. I mean,
It's not
you got the
competition
smokiness in the meat. You got the salt and pepper for your savoriness, and you can take a load of it because it's such a dense piece of meat. And so we just got some bark built on the outside, got my color right.
have you ever over seasoned brisket? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think so.
I can't.
I can't think of a
Recall
time
a
I was like,
time.
man, that's too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really can't. I mean, I really don't.
I mean, not just the seasoning part, maybe
Yeah.
in the final steps and the
Yeah, I
saucing
can see
and
getting
stuff.
it too salty if you did something at the end too much to it.
Yeah.
But usually that initial seasoning, you're not going to do too much because a lot of times you're going to wrap it anyway, and that takes a lot of it off. Or just throughout the cook, if you baste it or spritz it or
It's just-
anything, it's
yeah.
going to wash some of it off.
And it's a big piece of beef.
And yeah, it's still, no matter what you do, it's not going to I've over flavored it from injecting, putting too much stuff in it,
Yeah.
but never just the seasoning. But once I got the bark built on the outside of it, it was time to go ahead and cube it up because I was
And-
putting this in a shepherd's pie.
And when you say you got the bark built up on it, what was your internal there? Because it
I had
wasn't
no
tender.
idea. No, it wasn't tender at all. If I had to guess, it's somewhere in that 160 to 170 range, something like that. It's just where it starts to, getting ready to fat break down.
And about how
It's
long?
going to stall right there anyway. If you keep going with it, it's going to hang out for a while. It took about 4.5 hours to get that color right. And once you get that done, it's on, ready to break it down. So I took it off the pit and cubed it. Just like I was going to make burnt ends with a point, I did it with the flat. And basically you cut it in strips, and then you come back and cut those strips into bite-sized pieces, and it goes in a pan, and you add all your goodness to it to give it the flavor for the filling of the pie. So I did a lot of garlic. like a whole head of garlic, peeled and roughly chopped. Took about a medium-sized yellow onion, kind of chopped it up. I wouldn't worry about dicing it fine or anything. Spread that in there. Put me a thing of sliced baby portobello mushrooms in there.
And that's kind of unique. That's not
really
traditional.
The mushrooms in it were killer. They were really good. The onions and garlic kind of went away.
Yeah.
You got flavor from them, but you braise them down so much, they kind of cooked to nothing.
Yeah, they just become
But
part
the
of
mushrooms
sauce.
held up and absorbed a lot of flavor, and it was really, really good.
But that was not traditional shepherd's
No,
pie edition.
not in any way. Yeah.
But it was a good idea.
And I left out the peas and carrots and all that stuff. I didn't want that in it. I was going, the way I like to eat it.
Yeah.
My interpretation. So once you put the vegetables in there, I threw some thyme sprigs in there just to give it a little herby flavor. Added some beef consomme. I needed some liquid. Added a Guinness beer going with that St. Patrick's Day theme. Added some Worcestershire sauce. And that was pretty much it for the wrap. I could have, what would have really made it ramped up a little bit if I'd put some red wine or something like that.
Yeah.
Did use some tomato paste for to fortify those flavors, and you get some of that acidity from the tomato paste, and it helps all those drippings tighten up some, add some thickness to it. But basically you just cover it in foil and you're braising at this point, so you could stick it back on the pit. If you're short on time, ramp the temp up. You want to throw it in the oven, put your oven on 300, 350, something like that, throw it in there, because you're wanting to cook that cubed up brisket flat down to where it's almost melt in your mouth. So if you think about, like, when you pick a piece up, it should be, to where when you pinch it, it just kind of mashes apart. That's the mouthfeel texture you're going for.
And those little bites.
They were delicious. They were really, really good. They were like better than burnt ends.
I think so,
because they had all that good flavor in there from them. They picked up from the vegetables and from the sauce and just all that goodness. So they went, and you don't really have an internal temperature. This is kind of a feel thing. You just got to get them soft, because you're cooking it some more in the shepherd's pie, but it's not really going to get it any more tender.
Yeah, it's not really cooking.
Yeah, because you're basically just heating those potatoes up with the cheese.
Yeah, you're just letting it come together.
But it took, about 2.5 hours more wrapped, I would say, to finish out.
Probably. Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. And so I just kept, after about 2 hours, I checked it. When I felt that they were about there, I tasted one. Mouthfeel was getting close. I said 30 more minutes, and then tried them again. And at that point, some of them were coming apart. And I was like, it's on now. That's how you wanted it. And so I transferred, take the full off the top, let it steam out a few minutes, and then used a slotted spoon and kind of transferred all the meat to a bowl. That left me with my drippings. And now I wanted my shepherd's pie thick. So you had a couple options there. The way I kind of cheated, I don't know if you say cheated or not. It's probably not the traditional way. But I used a brown gravy packet and water. I think it's like 1 cup of water to 1 packet of brown gravy makes about a cup.
You made 2.
I made 2 of those.
Yep.
You basically mix the water and whisk it together cold, and then bring it up in the heat till it comes to a boil and it thickens itself.
And there ain't nothing wrong with
It's
that
brown gravy. Yeah, it's instant brown gravy. Well, I fortified all those drippings with that. So I poured those off in there and whisked it up in that gravy, and it thickened it. Then I mixed it back with the meat, and it just made this unbelievable filling for that.
So let me ask you this. Why couldn't you just add the gravy to the burnt ends with the sauce? Why'd you have to separate?
I don't know. So if I would have just poured the gravy over it and then mixed it in, I just think it probably would have separated, because you still had a lot of fat. And my thinking was, I'm going to separate the fat, drip, get the fat off these drippings. Well, when I started looking at it, and first off, you don't know what those drippings are going to taste like. Because how many times have you cooked a brisket or seen us cook a brisket at a contest where the brisket's good, but the drippings have a different flavor.
Yes.
They have some flavor you don't want.
Bitterness.
Yeah, you get a bitterness from them. You never know.
That's true.
And so, I didn't try the drippings before. I just said, I'm going to separate it. Then I'm going to make the call. I'm going to taste those drippings, and if they taste really, really good,
or if you need
if I need to get the fat off of it, I can. And then once I tasted them, I was like, oh, that's good. And so I said, I'm just going to mix it all together. And so, there wasn't too much fat where it separated once we got the shepherd's pie. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Even after it got cold, there was no fat on it or anything. So it was perfectly fine. Now, if I would have added a stick of butter to the pan, which I You know, normally if I was doing a brisket for a contest, I'd probably would have put some butter in there. You probably would have had more fat ratio to it, but it really didn't. It was really good. So I think it just let me control like what that gravy sauce was going to be like with the drippings, and I had some choices. But it worked out. Because this was not like something I practiced. This was one of those recipes where it's like, I got an idea, trust me, let's do it. And then so some of it you got to go by feel. You can't always be, you know, I always say, I like to do a recipe and tweak it and figure out if I need to adjust this. With this one,
sometimes we don't have the time.
Yeah, I've cooked plenty of briskets, and I was like, well, I made a gravy before. Who doesn't know how to make mashed potatoes? I didn't feel like I had to spend time on the instant gravy, on the mashed potatoes. That stuff was stuff anybody could do. The time was, how do you get that brisket to that point where it's a good feeling, a good hearty, savory
and give it
feeling,
those flavors too,
and give it those flavors of the smokiness. That's something that a traditional shepherd's pie or cottage pie doesn't have.
That's true. The cubes of brisket came out as good as any burn-in that I've ever had.
And it was all flat. It wasn't even pointing.
I know. It was all flat, but it was just melt in your mouth.
It was really, really good.
It was really good.
So
and then you mixed it with the gravy.
Yeah. And so at that point, you had a dish that was ready to go right then. I mean, it was so good. You could have ate that right then. But I put it in the iron skillet, and we took just Yukon Gold potatoes, boiled them, mashed them up, added some butter, added some sour cream, seasoned them a little bit. That's all it was to it, mashed potatoes.
Just a little cream, heavy whipping cream.
Heavy whipping cream, place some milk. But just make some mashed potatoes. And I thought about this. If you wanted to, you could use instant potatoes. You could have bought mashed potatoes from like a chicken joint if you'd have wanted to. You could have bought what's the ones, Bob Evans, the little tray of mashed potatoes would work. You know, heat them up in the microwave or however it says cook them. If you say
Me and Michael like that.
It's quick mashed potato. The point is, the mashed potato is not the star of the show there, so we're going to jazz those up anyway. So you put your meat filling in the pan or skillet, like I used. You could use a casserole dish. Cover it in mashed potatoes. You want a nice layer. And then add, I kept the Irish theme. I bought at our Kroger, we had an aged Irish white cheddar cheese. It was just coming in a block. Shredded that up on a box grater. Added some grated parm to it because that parm helps the potatoes start to brown, and sprinkled that all over the top and put it back in the pit. At that point, I wanted to raise the temp up, so I wanted to melt my cheese and get it to brown on top. And it took, on the Traeger, it takes longer than it probably would in the oven to brown up. Yeah. I would say 20 minutes maybe.
20 minutes in the oven?
No, it only takes about 10, 15 in the oven. I'd give yourself 20 to 30 in the Traeger. You're not overcooking anything at that point. You're just really trying to get the top to look like, because you got to think your filling's already cooked. It's hot and warm and bubbly. Your potatoes are warm and nice. And
you're just melting cheese.
Just melting cheese. And, let it all get happy. And at that point, you're ready to serve. And you talk about a hearty dish.
You can't eat much of it.
I mean, if time you get you 2 big spoons on a plate, that's a meal. And it's a stick to your ribs type meal. It's going to fill you up.
You're not going to need dinner.
And you get a good a good glass of Guinness to go with it. You're ready. You eat that before you go out on St. Patrick's Day. Well, you probably need it the next morning for lunch.
Yeah, I think it's more that
the next day. But so the recipe I did really was we made enough to make 2. I knew it would because I could have cut that flat in half and just use enough. I would say you need at least a 4-pound piece of meat to start to get it to cook down and be enough to make like a family size serving, like that big iron skillet. Yeah. What size was that iron skillet?
12-inch.
12-inch. But if you did it in a casserole dish or a metal pan, you would want that size, like at least 4 pounds. But when I was 10, so I was like, this is going to make more. We're just going to have some extra. And so I threw together another one, and that's why I said you could share this. It's a perfect thing to throw in an aluminum pan. Go ahead and have your potatoes to go over it, top it with your cheese, put foil over it. You can give it to them then with the directions to throw it in the oven at 350 until it's warm and then brown the top. Or you could freeze it. It would freeze really well. And then you have something, you have another dinner sometime.
Yeah.
So that's really it's a great thing to do with leftover brisket too. If you ever have enough leftover brisket to make a shepherd's pie with it. But I was thinking some options ultimately point would have been the best,
Yeah.
But I don't have a source just to get brisket point. So, and I was like, I don't need a whole brisket. That's why I chose the flat. but also chuck roast.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do
That
you have
would
to use
be
brisket?
no, you don't. Chuck roast would be great there. You know how we did the poor man's burn ends?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the exact same thing. You get some color on the outside of a chuck roast, you cube it up, give it that same treatment, and it's going to make just as good as filling for a shepherd's pie. You don't have to use the flat.
Yeah.
And it may be even better because
It's going to be better.
the chuck roast has a lot of good internal fat in it, a lot like point. It's closer to point meat than it would be flat meat,
Yeah.
you know, for brisket, just the muscle groups.
But brisket fat has a whole different taste to me.
Yeah,
better
it
fat.
does. I think so
Yeah.
too. Like the point from the flat, the fatty side.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if you got a flat, like if you're doing contests and you're not cooking your burn end, your point for burn ends, you throw them in the freezer, you know, break them dudes out, and make you a shepherd's pie.
So,
You could even do them as far as smoke the meat first and go ahead and cube it, and then freeze it cubed, and then break it out and braise it down. Make your filling from there.
Yeah,
You got to,
yeah.
you know, you want to, put some in the freezer where it's easier go to.
yeah. Or you could stretch
Because
it
that's
out
the
over-
longest point, really, is to me, getting the smoke on it and getting it right. The breakdown part's really easy. It doesn't take near as long.
You could do, the cooking the brisket or the chuck roast or whatever on a Saturday and
Yeah.
save it and
Make your
put it all
shepherd's pie.
together on a Wednesday,
Yep, that's right.
or Thursday for St. Patrick's Day this week.
That was the point of that recipe, though, to have something different to cook for St. Patrick's Day. If anybody's looking for ideas.
So, you were talking about cutting up the brisket into cubes. Is it a burn in?
No. I mean, in a traditional sense, it's not.
What
This-
makes
this
a
is
burn
brisket
in?
bites.
That's just.
I mean, from
delicious
from a
brisket bite.
barbecue standpoint, or what's burn ins now to people, typically is the point that's been cubed up. Now,
Why does that make it a burn in?
I think it just kind of got turned into that from
Yeah.
KCBS barbecue, and from the lack of so burn ends originally were the burnt edges of brisket, that the part that would crumble off, or that they would usually, like you've cooked this brisket right. If I try to get my slice big enough, it's going to crumble and fall off. So what pitmasters would do when they'd pull their brisket out to slice it, they would take those edges and go ahead and square them up. And you had this pile of meat that you really didn't sell as quality brisket. And they would, like, while people were waiting in line, or you just wanted to give somebody a sample or something, you would give them some of these edges, and they got to be known as burnt ends or burnt edges.
Yeah.
And they became, and so then you could get your good slices out of them. You could still slice your flat, and you could slice some of the fatty point, but you had the edges, and you were using those to give away. When people started wanting to buy them as they gained popularity, pitmasters had to say, well, how are we going to make these?
Yeah.
It's not
People were
just, because
starting
you
to
don't have enough
request
just the
them,
edges. So they started cubing up the point. And then it got to be in barbecue contests when they're doing cooking the brisket category that you put slices in, and you'd put some burnt ends in there, which was just the point that had been cubed up, retossed in a little broth and sauce, and cooked down to where it's, super bite through texture. Same thing I was going through with the flat.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's probably some restaurants out there that even take flats and cube them like I did for burn ends. It's not really a burn end. I guess
Yeah.
it's just
But I could see how
brisket
you could
bite,
pass it off.
but you could pass it off as it easy.
Yeah.
The flat has a little texture and is leaner. It doesn't have as much
Yeah.
marbled fat like the point does. So I think a brisket point burn end is way better than a flat burn end. But the little chunks of tenderness when you cook them down, it's
I don't know, those that came out of that that pan
yeah,
that you had making this brisket shepherd's pie, they were excellent.
they're melting your mouth. I mean,
They
it was
were-
the texture of them was perfect.
And they didn't have that barbecue flavor.
Yeah, no.
They had more of a savory flavor, but
Yep. It reminded you of a pot roast kind of, that
kinda,
a fancier pot roast with
Yeah.
the flavors it
Yeah.
had going on.
almost like a short rib, maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And you could do, short rib, shepherd's pie. You could use any kind
Yeah.
of beef that you braise down like that.
Could you
Really
use
good.
a lamb?
Yeah. There's no reason why you couldn't. You could use ground beef in it. You mix your ground beef and then make your, you're not braising it. You're not making all those flavors.
Would you just like?
I don't know if
cook
it'd be as good.
I don't think it would be.
I've only had shepherd pie at a restaurant a few times.
Yeah.
And it's, it's always like a thick gravy with meat. And usually it's not braised down delicious meat. It's just, some quick and easy dish like
Yeah.
casserole.
They're
Think about
probably using a chuck roast, don't you think?
ground beef.
Oh, they're using
A
ground
lot of
beef.
times, yeah. I
Yep.
mean, the shoulder, Was that Tyler?
I was just gonna say, do y'all think it's possible to use like leftover brisket to do that dish?
Yeah. Definitely.
He
No
said
reason
that.
why you couldn't.
Oh, he did. I'm sorry, I must have missed it.
You were over there thinking about how good that shepherd's pie was.
I was.
But no, you could definitely use that. You could even use pieces of slices. If you had leftover slices, just kind of chunk them up because you're really just wanting that meat to break down and be tender. So I was thinking like another take on it would be make a big old baker potato and bust it open and and then serve that filling over it. So it's not really a shepherd's pie.
I like that better.
But it's that,
And you get the white cheddar cheese too.
and cover the top of it. It's like a
Gravy.
reverse. Yeah, it's like a reverse style. And that would make a really, really cool dish.
Oh, I like that.
Because you've had a barbecue baked potato. We've done those, and you've seen,
And they're really good. Yeah.
And I've seen burnt ends served over it, but I've never seen it like you make that same kind of filling for the shepherd's pie, and you cover it with cheese. And,
Shepherd's pie potato.
Yeah, it'd be really good, really good.
I like that even better. That sounds.
But you could serve
good.
that filling over rice if you wanted to. You could serve it. Heck, you could probably
Yeah.
serve it over noodles, and it'd be good.
You could, do anything with it. It's really good. So this past weekend, I think you won, or Killer Hogs won 20th. I think it was 19th place actually. 19th place MBN rib team of the year.
You didn't even know that, did you?
You didn't know it either.
Well, I thought it was a little odd because I only cooked one contest. Turns out if you cook one, that's all it
did
took.
really good
You got to
that
do really
one
good in that
contest.
one. Heck yeah.
So do they
We
take
finaled and got a
average?
fiddle with it. No, it's just you get so many points by finish,
Okay.
and there must not have been as many teams getting points like
Yeah.
that. I mean, you do have a drop off. You've got your teams that are running for points and they cook, multiple. I'm sure like the difference when you got into the top 10, they probably had hundreds of points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But when
Did
it
they-
tails out to 20, there might have been, I don't know. I don't know how many teams competed in the MBN. I know there was 30-something rib teams when we did that one event. And I imagine they had that in most of them because ribs is usually the most participated category. But I was happy to get it. It was a cool trophy.
It was a nice trophy.
We should have brought it in here and set it here on the table.
We're going to
But
put
we've
it.
got it at the shop. So what happened, the MBN had their annual awards or members banquet last weekend, and Dustin Rudd, who's going to be here, I think he was second place rib team of the year last year. And he sent Mikey a text. It's like, man, y'all got a trophy. And Mikey's like, what? No, we didn't. And he's like, I'll get it for you. So he brought it. I think he brought it by the shop one day this week. And Mikey sent me a picture of it. And I was like, dang, that's cool.
Didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. But that was, glad to get it. I'll probably cook a couple more MBNs this year. I know I got to tune up for Memphis in May.
MBNs are fun. Like
They
that.
are.
Because we went to Galax.
Yes, that was the only one. I think that was the only one we cooked, wasn't it?
I can't think of another one that we cooked. I
Yeah.
mean, we cooked Memphis and May,
Yeah, because
but doesn't count.
I don't think we
They're
did.
Two sanctions.
We didn't cook many last year because of COVID. So it was, weird year.
And we had opened this place.
That's right.
I read an interesting magazine article. It wasn't a magazine. It was the Wall Street Journal. They did a piece on how Texas restaurants are dealing with the high cost of meat right now.
Man, everybody is. It's bad because it's hurting restaurants.
It's doubled, is what they're saying, in the
know,
past year.
And it's hard, it's so hard for barbecue restaurants to go up on their prices. I mean, you got to think they're selling meat by the pound. And if all of a sudden you're getting brisket you're used to getting it at $3 or $4 a pound, and then it's costing you $9, $10 a pound. Well, that price is hard to pass on. How are you going to sell a pound of brisket? You were at $16, $17, and now you got to get it $27, $30, $27, $28 a pound. That's just, the average person, you might spend that for a fancy steak or something, but you can see it, but you're not going to do that for a pound of barbecue meat. People don't associate with barbecue as being that,
A higher
higher price, high cost item, and it is.
It's become that way. Yeah,
because you got to think. So you're not selling a whole bunch of different side dishes and things like that. You may have some sides that go with it, but meat is where you make your money in a barbecue restaurant. And when those costs go up, that's a direct hit. You've got to raise your prices or you won't sustain. And I can't imagine what a lot of those restaurant owners are going through right now, and we're going to see a lot of them fall off, and they have to close their doors. And hopefully they can come back when prices go back, but you don't know. It's a tough time.
In the article, they said in Houston, one restaurant's having to charge $30 for a pound of brisket.
Wow!
And last year they were about a year and a half ago they were charging $20 a pound.
Yeah, I knew.
And they said they're not making really a profit on that.
Yeah, see, that's crazy because you can think of the time it takes to cook it.
Yeah,
you don't associate with brisket being a $30 a pound type meat. But hey, if that's what it's costing to get it, you're spending. Yeah. Right now to get a decent brisket, $75-$80. There's and I don't see it going down anytime soon. You look at the price of fuel and everything else; everything's got to go up because of it. That's scary times.
Have you seen?
We have to learn all to cook bologna.
Ain't nothing wrong with bologna.
Nothing wrong with bologna. I say sharpen those shooting skills and get out them woods.
It says the current surge in prices is due to labor shortages in meat production plants, rising feed costs caused by drought, and pandemic-related supply chain issues.
It's like that.
It's just like a triple whammy.
Yeah. When you see all the one thing don't break you, but when you get all these conditions that aren't supposed to happening at the same time, it's got to bend somewhere. I know that's a bad thing. Because a lot of my friends and stuff that have restaurants, they're struggling.
Yeah. I thought this was interesting. So they interviewed a guy who owns the Riverport Barbecue, and he said that he has started to trim his briskets less and also cook them in aluminum foil instead of butcher paper.
So you don't have as much loss.
Yep.
Trying to keep the loss down.
The quote was, "I don't think it makes as good of a brisket, but you got to do what you got to do."
Yeah, I agree.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I'm glad that I'm not in the restaurant business right now. It's tough enough being in a business where you ship a lot and you're seeing the direct fuel hits and what it's doing to shipping costs. We're seeing some outrageous prices to ship rub and sauce right now. It's like, man, how is it worth it in some instances, and most of that's like truckload type stuff. You're not seeing it in like individual packages as much, but in your truckload prices, diesel fuel has just gone crazy, and it's making the logistics industry. They're having to adjust, and it's going to be a rude awakening for us for the next few months.
Yeah,
I just hope those prices go back down.
Wasn't there a strike recently? Actually,
yeah, they've had a lot of stuff going on. I think that was the Canadian trucker started that. It was a lot of different COVID. We've dealt with that, and just when you think you're coming out of COVID, you've got this whole Eastern European thing going on, and I don't like to get into politics and all that.
I know we need to change the subject all of a sudden.
But it's very, it's concerning, and people need to be aware of it. Know what's going on and what's
about
coming.
That $30 brisket.
Heck no, you see, I don't know about y'all, but when I open my Facebook up, every other post is about what somebody's paying for fuel.
Yeah,
and it's crazy right now. I've seen our price. At Kroger the other day, where I usually try to get diesel, it's $5 a gallon to put diesel in my truck, and it makes me think about where I'm going. So what's that going to do to barbecue? For real.
Yeah.
Keeping those speeds down. Try not to go unless you have to. And, especially if you got a vehicle that burns, a lot of gas or a lot of diesel. So, what's it going to do to barbecue contests this year? Are people going to travel? Is it going to, you're just going to depend on your locals?
Because they're traveling far.
A lot of them. There's a big SCA. The SCA, what do they call it? The World Championship is in Fort Worth this weekend. People come from all over to that. But
it's in this weekend?
Yeah. Starts tomorrow.
Really? They used to do it in October.
Yeah.
Did they move it?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, well, good luck to everybody out there.
Yeah, that's right. All our friends competing out there. Good luck.
So let's change the subject to something good.
What you got good?
Have you ever heard of a brisket Sundae? Speaking of brisket.
Yeah, barbecue Sundaes.
Yeah, it's like a barbecue Sundae.
Yeah, just with brisket.
And not SUNDAY.
Yeah. So is it like
SUNDAE?
Would it be like using the filling for that shepherd's pie? I guess or do you want more like
the one that I particularly saw? It was sold in a restaurant. They do a layer of mac and cheese, creamed corn, baked beans, cajita cheese, smoked brisket. Then they have some type of house sauce and crema.
Yeah,
so
I get down on that.
A Mexican flavor.
Yeah, I would say so. I've done it. So in the first place I probably ever had it was up at 17th Street.
But it wasn't brisket. It was just
no,
a
it's pulled
barbecue.
pork. Yeah, it's pulled pork. So it was more traditional coleslaw, baked beans, pulled pork, sauce drizzled over it, and it was delicious. I thought it was great. Really did. And I think it was like beans on bottom, meat on top of the beans, slaw on top of the meat.
That would make sense.
Drizzled sauce, and did it in a mason jar. And since I've had that, I come back home and said, "Chill, you got to try this." And it's got all the good things in one container. And if you're one of those people that don't like your food to touch, you don't, so you wouldn't like it. You're not going to like it. But I mean, I think it all goes together. It's like a barbecue sandwich, no bread, basically. Add beans.
So you're telling me it's healthy?
Heck yeah, it's healthy. Yeah, it's healthy. But it's good, and you could do it. I mean, it's a, it looks fancy when you serve it to people. So I've seen people since then. I've seen people do it at weddings, like for catering. Yeah, they'll have it all set up in the little Sundae dishes, or you can do it in plastic cups if you're trying to keep it country, low cost. But
you've been wanting to do a recipe on it.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't really a recipe. It's just beans, filled meat, coleslaw.
How would you build it? Would you do it very traditional?
Yeah. But I never thought about like the mac and cheese and the corn element to it. Mac and cheese and I don't see why it wouldn't. The mac and cheese and the brisket makes sense too.
Yeah,
that would look good on TikTok.
Yeah.
I have to do that one.
I do like how coleslaw and baked beans taste together. Yeah, I will mix those two together.
And the meat goes with that. Who doesn't put the barbecue meat in their beans? So it goes. That just works with pork. The brisket one, I don't really eat coleslaw with my brisket.
Yeah,
but you could substitute potato salad because potato salad and brisket would be good.
They didn't do coleslaw.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's if I was doing it my way.
Yeah,
but I don't know. So they did beans. What kind of beans did it say they did?
Baked beans.
So it's macaroni and cheese, baked beans,
cream corn.
I don't like corn in my mac and cheese either. That's weird. I'd probably leave out the corn. Yeah.
So mac and cheese, baked beans.
Yeah.
That goes together.
Yeah.
And then you got cajita, brisket, a little sauce and crema.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know if I'm feeling the baked beans. I feel like on that one, because it almost feels Mexican inspired, like black beans would be really good.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I could see a Gringo Sundae. But see, you could add the corn at the end, but I would say the corn would need to go on top with the cotija cheese.
And a cold corn.
Yeah.
Instead of like
almost like a corn salad.
Corn. Yeah.
You know how you do the corn salad? Yeah, I probably wouldn't do cream corn. It'd be like whole kernel, Mexican style street corn,
Yeah, street corn salad.
Over the top of it. Oh. But I would put the meat over the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want so it needs to be mac and cheese, the meat.
What, brisket?
Brisket sounds great on it. And then the corn or the beans and then the corn. And it's like a layered dish.
Yeah. And then a sauce.
Yeah. Are you doing this individually? Because when I'm thinking of, what do you call those things you build? Like a
7-layer salad type deal?
Yeah, but it's in that terrine thing, it's real big. It'd be like a family serving size, almost like the cornbread salad. You know what I'm talking about? Not a parfait, but I don't know what they're
trifle?
Yeah, it's a trifle dish.
That's Ireland.
A trifle dish.
Yes.
So you could build that really, it'd be really good. Because I've seen the mac and cheese with burnt ends. Have you seen people do that?
Yeah. And to me, those two things go.
Yeah, those go. You're just adding on top of that. So if you put your beans on next and then your corn, that's it. I don't know. I'm going to try it. You got me interested now. Thinking about it.
Could you make like a barbecue Sunday bar where you get a cup? And
I don't see why you could
do it yourself.
Yeah, you could. If you want to feed a crowd, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that. So what's going to happen there is everybody's going to eat your brisket and your mac and cheese. Yeah. They're not going to mess with the beans, the corn, or whatever. Because I mean, how many people I bet if you watch, nobody would put the beans on it. So they might do the mac and cheese, the meat, and then maybe the corn. But
yeah,
I think you're better assembling that one if you're going to do it for a crowd.
That's true.
I think everybody would just want to know where the plates. They're like, where are the plates?
Yeah,
they say cups.
Yeah, because everybody's in cups. We don't put this stuff in red Solo cups. But if you had it already assembled for them and they could get it, it's a different dish there.
I do have a question.
I was trying.
Have you ever opened a bag of pellets with your teeth?
What?
Have you ever opened a bag of pellets with your teeth?
I don't know.
Well, you're out there.
No. Did you are you asking this because you've done it?
I didn't have a knife. I didn't have anything. I
just tear it with your finger.
That's what
I tried.
I usually take 2 fingers and just
you
tear a hole.
So you didn't want to tear your. I know what happened here, folks. I know you didn't want to break a nail. It's like I'm gonna put.
I already broke
you already
them.
don't want to put these pellets in there. It's like, why is Malcolm not out here doing this? I'm out here at the grill. Let's get this.
I couldn't get a good hold.
Was this when you were cooking wings the other night? So instead of breaking nails, you're just like, I don't care if I crack a tooth. Just bit that bag of pellets.
No, it's just a little enough to get your finger in there to rip it.
I was thinking people do stuff like that. I was thinking people open beer
I can't be the only one.
Do you open beer bottles like that?
Hey, if I had to, I would. I'm
More
getting
of a
in there
table
some
book
way.
guy. Yeah. No, that's a good question. I have never opened a bag of pellets with my teeth.
I mean, I'm not talking
I
about.
got tender teeth, though. I've spent too much money working on these things. You know? I had to have some work done to get back to a full set. I ain't risking that. Y'all have heard about my dentist experiences. I'm not trying to
You're
tear
not a
up
very
anything.
good dentist patient yet.
No, I had to go last week get my cleaning.
So here's a fun fact about teeth and beer bottles. So I hired a bartender when I worked at the local barbecue restaurant, and she did great in the interview. Everything was great. So started on her first day, and I had a customer complain that she was opening bottles with her teeth, and I was like, "What?"
No way.
And I didn't want to like just approach. So I waited until I saw her do it again, and I was like,
Did you watch her do it?
"Yeah." It's like we can't be doing that now.
Man,
No.
where did you hire this person?
Yes, well, I didn't. I guess now I know in future reference, if I'm going to hire a bartender, I should ask how they
Yeah, how
open
do
their
you
beer
open-
bottles.
If I was at a bar and a old gal breaks me a beer, before she sets it down, she sticks it in her mouth and opens. Do they like spit the bottle cap too? I feel like, hold on, wait a minute.
I need your number.
No, that's not what I'm thinking. Look, I may need to leave this establishment.
Is this protocol?
I would have a problem with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
you
don't want
should-
them doing no forearm. I don't want some chick doing no forearm on my beer.
I didn't know that people actually did that. I always thought that was a joke.
Nope. It must. It's just like a trained practice.
I'm just
thing.
guessing she may have been a little rough around the edges, Tyler. I don't know. It's just speculation.
She looked pretty normal.
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing in like New Orleans or something like that, where that would be like a novelty for some people to go to a bar like that, but just not in Little Town, Hernando, Mississippi. I don't know.
I believe there's probably one down there that's got a bottle opener in her mouth. And I think I may have seen that.
Maybe she
Different kind of bar, but
maybe she got a fake tooth.
she got a fake tooth opener on it. Hey,
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either. But
So now I don't feel bad at all.
yeah, I mean, I guess.
Bag of pellets ain't nothing.
Yeah. There was probably a knife laying right there on the shelf.
No, I looked. I really looked.
Scissors, nothing. Any kind of sharp object. Just first instinct.
It was the
I'm gonna bite it. I'm gonna bite it.
It was the question of, am I going to walk inside and get this knife?
Or am I gonna bite it? I'm gonna bite it.
My laziness won out.
Yeah. Okay. Hey,
I think y'all are lying to me. Y'all all did it.
I know I've bit like a pack of ketchup or something like that. You know, trying to get it going. May have had some more fry grease on the hands and ain't working right. Needing that ketchup fix.
I look at ketchup packages differently since COVID, you know?
Oh yeah, but it's fine to bite that bag of pellets. You don't know where some pellets been.
Think about that.
Like that person at the drive-thru may have touched that ketchup now, but these pellets seem perfectly okay.
Daggone.
Knowing rats been climbing all over them in warehouses.
No, they have not. Oh, God.
Oh, you might need to go get tested. Have you felt okay since that show?
Just a little cranky. I don't know.
Somebody in the comments.
Cranky.
Somebody in the comments is gonna make you feel better.
Yeah,
It's gonna.
they do it.
Also, I had one other thing to talk to you about today.
All right.
Have you seen the smoked log of sausage that's been going around, like a sausage fatty? Michael Scott does them.
Oh,
a lot of times,
yeah.
too. It's
I've seen
basically just
It's just breakfast sausage seasoned with some barbecue rub and smoked on a smoker.
it.
And glazed with sauce. Yeah. You know, at the Royal, there's a category for sausage. That's everybody. I mean, that's been they're good. Now, I've seen them take them to extremes where you stuff them and bacon weave them. And
You've done that before.
oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. You don't have to, like, smoke breakfast. You can just go buy, like, Jimmy Dean from the grocery store. Carefully take it out of the little cylinder it's in, you know?
Yeah.
Keep its shape and then season it and then put it just right on I like to set it on like a little half rack. Like I call them chicken racks. And season it with rub and put it on there and smoke it. But it is really, really good. You just got to make sure you take that to at least 165 because it's ground meat. But it's simple to do. And like, so the way you talk about Michael Scott does them, he come out here and did one morning for us when we were doing, was that the last Winterfest?
I think it's Winterfest, yeah.
But he glazes them up, takes them back inside, cuts them, puts a piece of cheese on it, puts it back, lets that melt, and serves it on a Hawaiian roll. So you've got this little like sausage fatty slider with cheese on it. And you talk about excellent.
It is really good. I think he put some sort of jelly maybe in.
He may have pepper jelly on top or something like that before he puts the cheese on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe
it was he used the sauce he glazed it with was really good. It's that Blues Hog, the Chipotle raspberry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really good sauce for that.
You've used that on
several things, but I've used it in some recipes too.
You used it on a ham.
Yeah.
Used it for glazing a ham. Yeah. Well,
that's a good St. Patrick's Day.
I want you to do that recipe. That looks really good.
Which one?
The smoked sausage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I do it this weekend.
There you go for breakfast. Well, I mean, it's hard to do it for breakfast.
It's kind of a brunch.
Up so early. Yeah, it's a brunchy thing.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I mean, they're really, I mean, to me, it's since you got sausage, you know, it's a breakfast thing.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's like a little, you can, like what he does, he makes little baby.
You can do a fried egg served with it on a biscuit. It's a different take on sausage. Like, it's not traditional. It's taking breakfast sausage and making it non-traditional. Putting a barbecue twist on it.
Yeah, yeah. Adding a little more flavor to it.
I guess you could take them then after you slice them, and if you wanted it seared, just hit it in an iron skillet real quick and sear that, inner side of it.
Get a little crunch on the outside.
A little crunch, yeah. That would be good.
Well, what do you have coming up? What recipes do you have coming up?
This past week it was a TikTok week. So we did one that really surprised me, and I guess it's started out healthy, or if you're a keto person, like it started out breadless. I did a chicken crusted pizza. I called it a cheesy chicken barbecue bacon pizza with no bread. This was all chicken crust. So I bought a package of boneless, skinless breast and a package of boneless, skinless thighs.
We looked for ground chicken.
We couldn't find any.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we ground it and made our own. And then you just take them, season them up, form it into a pizza crust, and then cook that. And we'll probably go into all this after we release those. But It might be a minute before that one gets released. But, man, it made a really, really good pizza.
You used your new white sauce
as the sauce. That's right. And it's coming soon. Hopefully bottled up and shipping this week. I don't know. But maybe it ought to be hitting soon. Took a while on that one. Working with mayo is tricky. Then what did I use mayo for this week, Tyler? It was I did would you call it a Mexican version of a spinach artichoke? It's kind of what it was.
Yep.
It's a Mexican version of a spinach artichoke dip. I added green chilies, like diced green chilies to it. I did Monterey Jack cheese, did some Grande Gringo. When it got done, topped it off with cilantro and some Tapatio hot sauce.
It was a great idea because that was best spinach artichoke dip I've had in a while.
If you like spinach and artichoke dip like you get, it's on a lot of bars, appetizer menus, that's pretty basic menu. This kicks it up a little bit. And it takes the taste totally different. You wouldn't think, I didn't do a whole lot different to it. Just the seasonings and the hot sauce and the cilantro and the green chilies, but it made it a totally different dish.
I agree.
Very, very good.
I ate way too much of it.
I did too. I did too.
I think, that one, when I did it, I was like, ooh, this would make a really great stuffing for like a poblano or an enchilada or something like that. And then it keep it vegetarian.
I say pull the artichoke dip, pull the artichokes out.
You don't even need them. You can add jalapenos in their place or whatever too.
Yeah.
But just like spinach and green chili dip, or you could
You know,
go
I was
meat
talking
with
about
it.
stuffing it.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna stuff it in something like a
I want you
poblano
to
or
stuff a poblano because I love poblano peppers. That's like my thing. I want you to stuff a poblano pepper with
that filling.
Yeah.
And then I would probably wrap it up, like, in bacon. I wouldn't do it like traditional where they fry it a little bit. Keep it on the grill and then make a cheese sauce to smother it in. That would be really good. That's happening.
That's a really good dish right
It
there.
would be, yeah. It is. Cinco's coming up. De Mayo.
You also did a salty Samoa brownie.
Yes. And that one will hurt you.
That one's
If y'all are into desserts and you're not fighting diabetes, I guess. I don't know. It's one of them that'll get you there because it's just a standard brownie mix kicked up. I did use the Girl Scout cookies in it, and they went in the batter, and I made a topping. Because if you've ever had, like, one of my favorite Girl Scout cookies is Samoa's. It's the coconut. It's like caramel coconut chocolate cookie, like a wafer, little round things, and you can. They don't give you many of them in a box now.
No,
you
get like
6.
Yeah.
You got to buy like 8 boxes of them to get your Girl Scout crack fix.
Yeah.
But I chopped those up, mixed them in the brownie batter, and baked that. And then you got a good brownie right there. But then you toast some coconut, mix it with some salted caramel sauce, and all this stuff is like I bought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bought the caramel sauce.
super
It comes
easy.
what brand? Do you remember what brand that was?
Smuckers.
Smuckers. With a name like Smuckers, it's got to be good. That's what the commercial said.
It's the salted caramel
Ice cream
sauce
topping.
that they use for ice cream
But
toppings.
it mixes with coconut well, and you put that on top of brownies, and you put your little salt and a little chocolate sauce. Like Ghirardelli's, is it the Ghirardelli's like little squeezy sauce?
I think so, yeah.
And man, it made a good brownie.
And then you topped it with a little flake salt, too.
Yeah, a little salt over the top. So it was a salty Samoa brownie. And they were.
And those
Man.
recipes are coming out this coming
That was
week.
better than the thick girl brownies. And I thought those were good. It turns out I can make some pretty good brownies. You could probably catch me one making brownies if I was looking. What'd you think? Do you like them?
Yeah, I liked them. I'm not a big fan of
Yeah.
coconut, but I still ate a piece of it.
Yeah. And then I also did a drink too, because now this one probably, is that drink going to come out before St. Patrick's Day? The Green Wave. I called it the Green Wave.
Yeah.
It's like Jameson Irish whiskey, pineapple juice, blue curacao, and Sprite. And it makes this green looking Baja Blast looking drink.
Yeah.
It's perfect for St. Patrick's Day, but man, it'll get you there too.
Michael came in and was like, "Ooh, I want one of those." I was like, "No."
No, that's leaded, son. Because it looks like a Baja Blast. You still hadn't seen that on TikTok?
I need to look it up.
You need to look that
I've
up.
seen that one.
You seen it? But yeah, that was it.
Well,
And I got to do, so my next YouTube recipe will be filmed this coming week. And I'm probably going to do a tri-tip.
you keep
I've been on a
you
tri-tip
keep
fix.
going between tri-tip.
I haven't ordered it yet. Oh, that's bad.
You've been
I got a tri-tip in the freezer. Kevin sent me
Yeah.
some, so I'm going to use the Wagyu tri-tip.
that
That's what
one
I'm
and
doing.
the CT butt. You keep flipping back.
It's going to be the
forward.
tri-tip.
Okay.
It's going to be the tri. That's what I'm
So what's
doing.
the CT butt? Just real quick.
Collar trim butt.
Collar
It's
trim butt.
yeah. So it's basically they take a butt and they half it right in front of the blade bone, so you get the best of that butt, which is the money muscle on the front and all those delicious tubes behind it, and a little bit of fat cap, but not a whole lot. But it's boneless, so it's like a little pork roast. That's all the good stuff. And as far as I know, KCBS made those legal this year to use in contests because people were trimming the butts down and destroying them anyway, not cooking whole big 8-pound, 10-pound butts anymore. So I guess they're trying to make it more economical. And I don't know if these things are going to be economical or not. I hadn't priced them, but I did get to try one.
Mark cooked one
Yeah,
up
Mark
here.
cooked one at the shop, and man, it was fantastic.
What'd he cook it on?
He cooked it on that the Ranger pellet grill, the little small briefcase looking suitcase. And I was skeptical, but we wanted to cook one and try it. And you brought a slice back there of it. It was melt in your mouth, just perfect
It was
texture.
very,
I was
very
like,
good.
wow. And he said it cooked in like 3 hours. It wasn't long. I was
Oh,
like, man.
really?
I got 2 of those in the freezer too. I'm gonna play with them. I probably am gonna cook them and try to get. I don't know where that recipe's going. I got some ideas. I don't know if I probably need to do just how would you cook this for a contest if I was going to do it,
Yeah.
because I probably am going to cook some contests, and it's a good time to do a video on that.
You might need to practice.
It's going to be experimental.
So do you get pulled pork out of this? Or is it all going to be sliced meat in a box?
No, you could be able to see. You'd be able to get some. It would be like, it depends. Like, I would probably have to cook 3 of them for a contest.
Yeah.
I'm using one for my sliced money muscle, and the other 2 I'd break up. But you're getting some of the best meat on that butt to pull, and it gets nice and tender. It's got a lot of, internal fat in it, so it's juicy, and it's just really the best parts of a butt.
It was
and
really
it should
good.
cook faster too. So
The texture on it
was
really
fantastic.
impressive.
Yes, it was. That was what impressed me the most. Now, the flavor is flavor. That's what rub you put on it, smoke you use. But the texture of that meat was just silky, smooth, melt in your mouth, not dry, not tough at all. Just a great bite.
It was.
Yeah, and that was just something Mark was playing around with. So I can't wait to
See what you could
see
do.
what you could do with it.
I mean, you could cook it and serve it almost like a fancy dinner in replace of like a prime rib.
Yeah,
or
because you could slice it. See, that was one thing I was going
tenderloin.
to do is cut some little steaks out of it and do
Yeah.
it, like a jerk recipe or something, or barbecue pork steak type deal with it.
Yeah.
And I had some different things I was going to try.
But do you? He took that one up to 207, I think.
Is that what he
Yeah.
said? Yeah.
Well, I'm the one that pulled it off the
Oh,
pit.
okay. So you took it to 207. He didn't take it nowhere.
Well, y'all were doing something. He was like, "Can you keep an eye on that for me?"
What were we doing? Podcast?
Yeah,
Buck
y'all
Junkie
podcast.
podcast? Yeah. Yeah, you took it to 207. But it was good. It was not dry. It was
Yeah.
not tough. I mean, didn't fall apart. I didn't see him slice it, but.
They pulled it out, and everybody's eating it for lunch right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
When he was slicing it,
I
it
gotta
was
get out of here. I gotta get out of here.
it was like crumbling a little bit. So when you guys said something about that pulled pork, like that made me think.
Yeah. Was it a little? I didn't see it when he took it out.
It was
Yeah.
like knife was just falling straight
Oh,
through it.
yeah.
It was.
Oh.
It was good.
I was
Yeah,
impressed with
I'm
it.
excited about cooking those.
And that'd be a lot easier to
Oh,
cook instead of
Yeah.
8-pound butt.
I understand why they want to do them. People cooking on smaller cookers or drums.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's like, so Mark's
money.
talked to some guys, and it's like, yeah, we're cooking this thing in an hour and a half for a contest. I was
A
like,
butt in an
yeah,
hour and a half for a
yeah.
contest?
I mean, it's just like
Are they
crazy.
fireballing it? Or
Oh,
are they?
yeah. They're cooking it
Okay.
hot and on a stick burner and
Yeah.
putting it up in the,
Yes.
it's getting down to where you can cook a KCBS contest in 4 hours. You don't have to be there, show
gotta
up Saturday morning at 8:00. You can be done in time to turn in.
I'm sure they get the butt and the meat they need to turn in and do well.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as a 8-pound.
I'd give you
overnight.
that. I agree. Overnighter, cooked perfectly.
Yeah. But
It's different when you're cooking for a box.
yeah,
a judging
it is.
box.
It's completely different. I get that.
But yeah, that's all I got on my list, Shell. What else? So what else do we got going on? We got the event. We got the
The event's the big
anniversary coming up next Saturday,
We got our Memphis
March
May
the
packet.
19th.
Yep.
Um,
We got our Memphis and May packet
got a
in
Memphis
today.
May pack. I see that right there.
We are R25.
I don't know about that. I would just be putting that out there.
We're not
Sure we
going to be
are.
at Memphis and May.
No, but yeah, no, we're excited about that. That's coming up. That's probably need to get a contest in before then or two. But
Well, you better get on that because
that's right.
Memphis and May's just a few weeks away.
A few weeks away.
That's crazy.
Tyler, you got anything else?
No, guys, just a quick reminder that the Shop-A-Versary is coming up, and it's going to be more than just the demonstration. It's going to be fun for the whole family. There's going to be a little kid zone and lots of prizes for them to win, and they can
Shop at the store and get tickets,
Mhm.
giveaways.
Oh, yeah. We've got big giveaways.
Yeah, big giveaways. We got an Arctic cooler. We got some How to Barbecue Right.
There's a drum
apparel.
smoker that Townsend Spices has donated. Kevin from the butcher shop in Pensacola is donating a gift certificate, and you can get whatever you want with that, I'm sure. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Really good time. And then, as always, if you guys haven't downloaded Malcolm's favorite recipes, is all available on the How to Barbecue Right app, available on the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get it there. It's probably where most people get it, ain't it?
Yeah, I would think so. It's all there.
It's all there. It's all there. If it's not, let us know. We'll get it there. And hang out with us in the community. You already said that, didn't you?
I did not.
But, Shell,
That's it. If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, you can do it on Facebook. Hold on. Let me start that one
You want to
over.
start that one over?
If you'd like to connect with
You
Malcolm,
forget.
if you'd like to connect with Malcolm, you can do that HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate y'all spending an hour with us this week, and we're doing this podcast for spring break.
Yes.
We'll be back next week, right before the big anniversary celebration. So we will see y'all next week and have a great weekend. We gone.